Welcome everybody on the webinar on book launch for the implementation of the integrated management system for quality, environment, occupational health and safety and energy management system. The objective of the program would be that we'll be just giving an idea about what is a management system and why the integrated management system is required, why do we have to integrate various management systems, and how the energy management system is to be integrated with the quality, environment and safety management systems. And then we will be talking about what are the basic concepts of the book that we have written and how this book is going to help the implementers, the consultants and the auditors. So these are some of the details that we will be talking in 1 hour time, and then we can have a question answer session for any queries or anything that you have. What is a management system? It's a set of interrelated or interacting elements of an organization. And containing what? It contains the policies, the objectives, the processes. When we talk of quality, it contains the quality policy, quality objectives. But right now we are talking of the integrated management system. So we talk of integrated management system, policy, objectives, and processes. The purpose is to achieve those objectives. That is why we make these management systems. Now, when we talk of integrated management system, to tell you about this organization, Quality Growth Services Private Limited, consultancy that was started in 1994. That time we had only ISO 9001. In 1996, ISO 14001 was published, and when we used to go for the audit, people, we found that they are so confused. When we ask for a document, they are asking us, you want the document of the business process that we are doing, or you want for ISO 9001, or you want for 14001. A lot of confusion. So then in 98, that was the first time when we started implementing the integrated management system. So that one we started for the QMS and EMS. And then later on, when OHSAS 18001 was published in 1999, then we started EMS and OHSMS. And then we started QMS, EMS, OHSMS, even all these 4 things that we are talking about, wherein there is a single management system which takes care of the multiple aspects. That means all the 4 aspects that we are talking about, quality, environment, safety and energy. At least 30 companies through Quality Growth Services, at least 30 companies we have assisted them in an integrated management system. So it really helps people who are actually implementing these kind of merged systems. It's a single system and they are enjoying it, and it becomes so easy for them to understand, so easy for them to implement the system. Rather than having so many systems one after the other, they have to think about it. A lot of confusion it creates. Fortunately, ISO IEC, they made a directive in 2013, and in the Annex SL of this directive, they talked about the high level structure. The idea of the high level structure when they made was that there are organizations who are looking for multiple management systems, and that was again creating a lot of confusion. So therefore, they thought that there are identical core texts. There are common terms and definitions of various disciplines, whether you talk of quality, environment, safety or energy. So there are common terms and definitions, common core text. So therefore, they thought there should be a high level structure. But the important thing that they did was they added one very, very important thing, context of the organization. We'll just discuss about that. It's a very, very important thing. Now, you will see here the high level structure before 2015, before these standards were revised, like 9001 and 14001, they were revised in 2015. And ISO 45001 was published in 2018, and ISO 50001 was also revised in 2018, right? So these 2 standards are in 2018 and these 2 standards are in 2015. Earlier, before that, there were 8 clauses of ISO 9001. And even though we have mentioned 4 clauses for ISO 14001, 50001 and 45001, actually there were so many sub-clauses, so much of confusion was there. So integration became very difficult. So what they did under high level structure, they said that there are going to be 10 clauses, and the title what you are seeing here will be the title for every standard. Only in ISO 45001, I've written it in smaller letters, the work participation has been added. Otherwise, all these titles what you see here, these are the titles given to all the standards, whether it is quality, environment, safety, or energy. So therefore, the integration became easy through that. All the standards have these clauses, as I said.
Good. As what's mentioning about, integrated or integration in the management systems is becoming a, important aspect in the last few years, and especially, thanks to the high level structure that we have, common clauses. I personally have experienced, both sides of the table. For 8 years, I have been a consultant with Quality Growth Services, and since last 11 years, I have been doing audits on behalf of American System Registrar. I have understood the difficulties of the management, of the workers, of the employees with respect to any new management system when it was introduced to them. Every time, the management used to talk about, boss, it's very difficult to implement any new system because more number of documentation will be required. Because at one point of time, ISO had been coined as that if you want to implement ISO, that means load of documents have to be implemented into the organization. But with the help of the integration, we'll see that, in the book also we have explained that, there are a lot of common documentation. We can have a common manual, we can have common procedures because, we have common clauses, 4 to 10 clauses common for all the standards. And it's going to be common for, the standards coming further as well. Another benefit that's going to happen, because of the HLS is for the common documentation for the internal audits. Now we don't have to carry out separate internal audits for separate standards. We can carry out internal audits jointly. We can have our management review meetings jointly. We can have even your coordinators. I think another big challenge that we have been focusing on with respect to various management systems being implemented into the organization were that, let's say that I'm going for an audit for ISO 9001 or an IATF, and I'm talking about automotive because we have a lot of clients in automotive world. The safety, environment, or the energy, or I would say utilities or maintenance team did not get involved a lot. Their focus was all on quality management system. As mentioned, this is how a typical organization look like. When I'm talking about an IATF or ISO 9001, okay, please go and talk to the quality department because they are the MR. If you want to talk about EHS, then please go and talk to the health and safety department because they are the ones who are taking care of safety and health and all that stuff. If I have to talk about energy management system, I have to go to maintenance department. They are basically taking care of it. You all have been giving consultancy for such a long time, but now what through integrated management system, what we are trying, and even the management system talks about that involvement of all the departments is very, very important. So with the integrated management system, what will help is those multiple coordinators that we have, we can have a common coordinator because of the common clauses, because of the HLS. I'll give you a very simple example, through our audits that we have seen. Objectives. When I go for audit of ISO 14001, everybody talks about, okay, can I have a look at the environmental objectives? When we go for health and safety, we talk about safety objectives. Everybody creating their own kinds of formats, everybody creating their own kinds of, action plans, which they have to maintain because they have separate management systems. But today, we're talking about Kaizen projects, now Kaizen, where we're talking about PQCSDM. Now, if you actually combine it as in your integrated management system, you can call that as your integrated objectives. I'm talking about quality QMS management system. My PQ talks about that. If I'm talking about energy and environment, cost. Today, I think, especially when we go for an audit, we try to link the cost with the environment. We always say, less we consume, less we pollute. So similarly in energy. Now, the more consumption is there, definitely, the energy consumption is high, there'll be less profitability in the organization. And that is what the management is also looking at. So with the integrated management system, we are not just helping to control the documentation, but we are also making the management happy because the management talks the same language. Because they want the organization should have one system rather than every department having separate management system being running into the organization. So that's, I think, one of the basic differences with the integration and no integrations.
You see, with that, what has happened is if you look at the standards, these are the 10 clauses which are there, I told you, for all the standards. And these are the various sub-clauses under those clauses. There are some little bit changes are there, like, for example, this consultation and participation of workers. This is a requirement of ISO 45001. Otherwise, all these clauses are similar in all the disciplines. And for ISO 50001, energy review, energy performance indicators, energy baseline, action of data, these are some different requirements are there. But otherwise, you will find mostly they are same. Some of these are common in maybe 2 standards or 3 standards. But the ones which are given in white, these are applicable to all these standards. Now here, out of this, then what we have done is to make you understand in a proper manner. These are the requirements which are common to all, like context of the organization. I will now will explain to you the context of the organization, how looking at the context, we can see all the 4 disciplines. We'll just explain that to you. Okay? Needs and expectations of the interested parties, scope, policy statement. Whether you write a quality policy or IMS policy, policy is a requirement. Target and objective, just now Sachin has explained to you. Communication, training, risk and opportunities, internal audit, management review, these are all common. So that way, even the definitions of continual improvement, definition of objective, definition of audit, all these are common. Definition of non-conformity, corrective action, these are all common. So why write those definitions again and again and explaining the requirement of quality, environment, safety, and all that? Okay, so it is found that almost 60% of the requirements are common. Some of the requirements are separate requirements are also there. There are some requirements for quality, some requirements for safety, some requirements for environment, some specific requirements, unique requirements for energy. But then there are some other requirements which are common between environment, energy, or between energy and quality. Like that, there are some other common requirements also. But 60% of the requirements are common with all the standards. And these are some of the unique requirements. Like for example, in ISO 9001, we talk of the quality failures. We have to identify what are the reasons for the quality failures and take some actions to make sure some controls are required. For ISO 14001, we have to do the aspect impact analysis and find out the controls for 35001 HERA, for 50001 energy review. But look at the things, look at the concept. Concept is the same. We have to find out what are the issues and what are the controls required. That is the basic thing. And then compliance obligations, the legal requirements. So these things are so common. Let's talk about the design and other things also when we go in the earlier slides. When you talk of participation and consultation, agreed, it is written in ISO 45001, participation and consultation of workers is required. But tell me one thing, even they are the ones who know maximum about the processes. So if we consult with them about the environmental aspects, about the failures, where problem can happen, if we discuss with them, I think it is always good. About the energy consumption, if we discuss with them, they are the masters of the process that they are every day they are handling. So in a formal way, I agreed, yes, ISO 45001, it is written there, it is not mentioned in the other standards, but then we have to, it is always good